again, it's kind of unproductive just to like demand money from the university instead of like trying to change the system that is making, all these like petty personal squabbles.
New tonight, another lawsuit looming for Michigan State University, this time with a $25 million price tag. According to a letter obtained by News 10, Board of Trustees member Rima Vassar is preparing a lawsuit against several current and former university officials for alleged violations of her civil and constitutional rights.
That letter was sent to officials including outgoing President Kevin Guskiewicz and Board Chair Brianna Scott. News 10's Riley Connell joining us now live from the MSU campus to walk us through these allegations. Riley.
Yeah, Ann and David, I have in my hand here that 23-page letter from Rima Vassar's attorney. Now, it says that if the university doesn't respond to requests that Rima Vassar is making by next week, she is prepared to sue. Now, the letter was only recently made public, but it is dated for May 17th. Now, that's the same day that the MSU board convened for a special meeting where it voted to make some controversial updates to its code of ethics policy. Rima Vassar has repeatedly called that policy unconstitutional. Michigan State University trustee Rima Vassar says she has been subjected to discrimination, retaliation, and violation of due process. According to a letter from her attorney, she will sue university leadership if they don't take action. A list of demands in the letter includes removing a controversial code of ethics policy that Vassar publicly called unconstitutional. It says trustees who speak out against majority board decisions face immediate sanctions.
The hope is that there are enough trustees on the board who are now rethinking this policy and the constitutional implications.
Aaron Turr is part of a national free speech group called Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, or FIRE, calling for the ethics policy to be revised. If not, Turr says he sees grounds for legal action.
Right now, nothing is off the table. We do think that this policy on its face violates the First Amendment.
MSU students Ben Macheski and Reed Papaconstantino say they don't agree with the ethics policy.
I mean, they're public officials, they're public servants. Like, a city council wouldn't like bind its members to not disagree if one of them disagreed with the policy, right? Why would the Board of Trustees have a similar policy?
But they were surprised by Vassar's threat to sue the university for $25 million, considering the university's financial struggles.
I feel proud to be a Spartan, feel proud to be part of a community of young people who are aspiring to do good things in the world, but I don't think that that's reflected by our administrations.
Vassar is also alleging she faced retaliation by university leaders for speaking out with criticism against the university's decision to roll back its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. She says university leadership has targeted her for being a black woman, specifically citing MSU's multi-million-dollar investigation into her conduct. Neither Rima Vassar or her attorney, Martin Shepard, could be reached for comment. MSU spokesperson Amber McCann tells me the university is prepared to respond to this matter in the courtroom if it does indeed lead to litigation. Live from MSU's campus, Riley Connell, News 10.
All right, Riley, thank you. The free speech group FIRE has requested a formal response to its letter to the MSU board by tomorrow. The board is expected to meet at 9:30 tomorrow morning in Benton Harbor. News 10 will be there.
Today, Michigan State